I went through a sexual assault kind of case in around 4 and 5, and I actually trusted my new parents and my. I was just scared the whole time. I was had something happen to me while I was homeless that I was kind of not told the process that needs to be
Mhm.
happened, and I was too scared to call my parents. I said, nope, don't call my parents. Like, I'm fine on my own. Like, they're just gonna get mad.
Welcome to the Rain from Within show. I'm Shane, your host. Everybody has a story. Some begin with displacement, silence, and learning to survive before you ever learn who you are. Today's guest is Stephania, born in Mexico City, where I've been skydiving. I've literally been there. Huge city. Wow. She was adopted at a young age. Her life has been shaped by identity shifts, trauma, health battles, and seasons where stability felt temporary at best. In this convo, we're going to talk about what it means to grow up without feeling safe, how fitness, faith, and discipline can become anchors when life feels out of control, and the difference between pushing through pain and actually healing. This is a true story about redefining strength, not as just endurance alone, but as honesty and humility to its core in learning to ask for help. Make sure you like, subscribe, and enjoy the show. This is a special one. All right. Wow, what a story you have, Stephania. I am so excited to have you here. So, shout out to you, dude. Tell everybody where you're at right now.
So, okay, thought we would start like from the beginning.
No, we will. Before we get into
Okay.
it, like, where you at? Like, are you on a trip right now?
Yeah, so I'm on a little trip right now. I'm just fun road trip, and been a little bit. I had a long story, so and I had everything out to laid out, and then that's the one thing I forgot for the trip. So it was but I am having fun and just some hotels, stopping nearby, driving a lot. So.
Little road trip. Let's go, dude. She's in Panera. She's repping strength right now.
Yes, love it.
Let's go. Let's go. Cool.
This is like the most comfortable sports bra, hands down, I've ever.
No way.
Like Nike doesn't even compare. Like,
Are you just saying that? You mean it?
No. I swear. I looked at it, I was like, I don't know if this will fit. And I was like, it has 3 supporting straps. I've never seen like a halter strap I was like, I wonder if that's going to be comfortable. Yes. Like the material
Let's go.
isn't like just cotton. It's like a cotton athletic, and I've never seen that before. And it's genuinely really comfortable.
Well, you're doing a great job making content already too. And you just mentioned you just ordered the Entity Plus and another sports bra.
Sports bra and shorts, yeah.
You're a beast. All right. Well, super grateful to have you on. We have so much to cover because you have such a unique story that a lot of viewers will resonate with and be extremely inspired by. Dude, so you were born somewhere that I've been, Mexico City, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I was there like 6 months ago skydiving.
Really?
It was sick, yeah. But
Okay, yeah.
that city there's so many people. There's like 23 million, right?
I'm not really sure. I don't remember a lot, but I used after being adopted from there, I went there like every year, and it's a little bit dangerous. You have to watch out, but it's definitely a great city, and it has the weather. It's like not too hot, not too cold there. It's great.
Yeah, Diego definitely downplayed. He's like, "Oh, we'll be safe. Like everyone's chill." I low key was like, I was like, "Wow, dude, this is interesting." Nobody looked like me. I speak some Spanish and poco. ¿Tú hablas español? Oh, sí. Okay, well, you definitely do.
The best part.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about how you. Okay, so you were born in Mexico City. You were adopted very young age. So, how did that early transition shape your sense of identity growing up?
So I kind of was very just like natural reaction from like a little kid just being like adopted. So like not too quickly. My brother was adopted quickly. I was adopted a little bit later. It was a very confusing transition, and I definitely was tried to guide myself through that. It kind of shaped my identity in a negative and positive way. I would say the negative way would. That it kind of made me confused on like how I'm able to cope with things or why am I having these reactions. It was very like trauma response, but it shaped me in such a good way I would say more recently, because I've been like able to, once I've kind of gotten over that wall, I've kind of been able to see that I have a good story to be able to help others. And oh, this is why, this is a trauma block. This is how I'm able to cope with things in a better alternative way now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just shaped me as who I am. Like I've been very, fortunate. Look, I am from a different country, and I want to show others like that is not. Sometimes I used to find that being so little as like, oh, I'm different from everyone, I stick out. I would think that as a negative thing. No, I kind of want broke out of that shell, and
Mm-hmm.
I am from Mexico, and these are the differences, and I want to share that with others and like, share my experience.
I love it. So you said your brother played a huge role in helping you learn the English, adopted with you. What did that teach you? And like, tell me about moving to New York at age 5. Like, what do you remember about that and stepping into
Yes.
that new culture?
Yeah, so it was definitely it was very at first I don't remember much, but I remember it was like I got to America and I was like thinking every single building was a hospital. I was like, why are there so many hospitals? Like it was definitely confusing for me,
Mm,
and everything looked different. It was such a better environment that I wasn't used to. But it was definitely my brother really kind of guided me along through that. We would always, get along because of this, and we would always like be interested in the same shows. I remember he was into dinosaur shows and train shows, so then Star Wars, so I became super interested in that. I kind of like he was younger, and I would protect him, but also lean on him and kind of
mm,
share my experience because we had similar experiences. So he definitely, growing up, we had our bit of issues, brother and sister, but it was definitely a good experience in that sense with my relationship with my brother. And then moving to New York as well, I would say the language barrier was super detrimental towards me, because I was here not knowing, I would be in a class, everyone's speaking in like English, and I'm like, wait, what does that mean,
yeah.
So it was definitely, but I actually overcame that pretty quickly. I learned for my age, around 5.5, when I moved to New York, a place called Bronxville.
Mm,
It was a great education system, but I learned English super fast, and I picked that up pretty quickly. So it
let's
wasn't
go.
the worst, and I
Dude, you're
love
so good
that.
at speaking. Holy crap, dude. You got to get on a stage or something. So
Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about you faced trauma at a very young age, and
Yeah.
without going too far into the details, how did that experience or those experiences impact the way that you viewed safety and trust?
So I'm actually a very open person. I'm kind of like an open book. I hope that others, if that has happened, even to 1 out of 10 people listening to this, I hope that that really something sticks with them.
Yeah.
So I went through a sexual assault kind of case and around 4 and 5, and I actually trusted my new parents and my to kind of I what is that? I trusted them to kind of ask like what was that happened to me. It definitely tanked my trust,
Mm,
and obscene amount. Like it was just I wasn't able to like know the difference between certain things, and then I was like, wait, are they, when someone would get upset, I'm like, wait, is that like normal, and or is that not normal? So I had to kind of rely on anybody older, and kind of like when little kids like imitate what older people do.
right.
I kind of tried to like replicate that and try to say, okay, they're a lot smarter. So as I grew up, I kind of tried to look up to those who knew more than me. And I
Mm,
think that even though it tanked my trust, I always looked at the positive side, and the positive side was learning from others.
oh,
So it
gotcha.
kind of was a up and down at the same time.
Okay. So you shared as well that your grandparents, they played a major role in your faith journey. So
Yeah.
what did they model? Like speaking of like, looking at other people and learning from them, how did your grandparents play a good role model role for you, and how about God that stuck with you?
So it was more my dad's side, and so my grandma, who really taught me with that. My grandfather had passed, but I didn't really know him because I had just been adopted.
Yep.
But I always admired that they shared great love with each other, and I always looked up to that. And my grandma really, what stuck with me was actually kind of what it is actually one of my top 100% moral. I always forgive,
Hmm.
and that is what stuck with me mainly. And I went to a private Catholic high school for a short amount of time. They had like a lesson there that stuck with me. I don't know, forgiveness has always stuck with me because my grandma really made it very telling these stories, these wonderful stories from the Bible in certain ways. I was enrolled in CCD, so I was like learning all this, and it was really intriguing for me as a kid. So it's not, you forgive people because it's not, they're not hurting you, they're hurting you out of their brokenness more so. And it kind of, when you forgive somebody, you take a layer of that grudge and it lets go subconsciously, even if you don't notice it. So truly forgiving somebody is being honest with yourself and with them, and saying, "Hey, look, like God will take care of them," and even for like praying for your enemies more so. So I always found forgiveness as like a bit of light to look up to, and
Hmm.
always my grandma's just turned 96, so she's still one of my like biggest role models.
It's so good. Forgiveness is so important, and I've mentioned this
Yeah,
in a previous podcast, but Matthew 6:14, if you forgive those who sin against you, your heavenly Father will forgive you. But if you refuse to forgive others, your Father will not forgive your sins. That one really stood out to me when I was learning the gospel, especially because, dude,
yeah, it's awesome.
if we don't forgive other people, how much are we playing God? Like, are we saying that we don't deserve, or they don't deserve our forgiveness when God created all of this in the
Exactly.
first place, right?
Like God forgives all, and if you're just open to letting go of that resentment inside, then it really plays like a huge role. And I love that we can both share something about that and how that stuck with us.
And the fact that your story of trials and tribulation and things that you've gone through, like you're still able to have that forgiving heart, says so much about you, Stefania. So props to you. I want to talk
Thank you.
about when you were about 15, or no, so yeah, when you're about 15, you got started at a gym, right? I was about the same age as well. That post surgery I had and such. But for you, age 15, what did fitness give you at a time when other parts of life kind of felt out of control?
So the gym, oh, I think I went to the gym for a little too long when I starting off, and I wouldn't give my body a rest. I was definitely new to it. It gave me a place to like let out my anger and my sad and my hurt, and it was a very good, healthy coping mechanism. Not just the gym, but just fitness in general. I would go on these runs around like a lake I lived nearby and next
Hmm.
to, and it was just really a way to, music was, go to the gym, listen to music, and it's just a way to like focus and control certain thoughts that were down playing on me, and definitely to start working on myself as a person. And it came a little bit with when I was 15 as well. I was working a lot, so I would try to mix those two things very well, and it was just the top two things I did: work and go to the gym. So it was definitely when I had structure around me, that's when I really excelled. So it was a huge structure thing for me. I would mix weights with cardio, be there for a long time. And also, when I was 15, which was years ago, there was a great kind of like community of workers that at one point, just at like a short point, that would always like look out for me, because I would run home, and then run to the
Mm,
gym. So sometimes late at night. So it
wow.
was a little bit of a sense of trust at one point for me, and but it was always a way of letting out my emotions.
I love that. So I want to talk about you were about a year into that. So at age 16, you experienced another unfortunate situation where boundaries were violated. How did the patterns like that affect your
Mhm.
ability to trust your instincts and as much as you're willing to share about that situation?
Yeah, so trusting instincts was is a great way to start off with this question.
Hmm.
I would say that my instincts were, it was more intuition also into that, on what was right, what was wrong, what did I know was off, and I was still very young, but I would say I was a little bit more mature, so I would know at least what's wrong or not. It kind of broke. I'll share a little bit about that. It was something that happened over the course of some months, and where I was kind of in an uncomfortable situation from when I was working there, so
Mm,
at the gym that I went to. So that kind of, again, tanked my trust, and my trust was going like this, now it's going down.
mm,
And but it taught me, like how to play things a little bit more smart to get away from that situation. And then after that worker had left, I shared my story, and it was one of the hardest things for me. Like, this is what happened. I kind of tried to stay away from it. I didn't want it to get escalate,
mm-hmm.
and I was kind of told, like, why didn't you report this before? Very much like they wanted to protect me, and they felt very bad. And the workers there, and I explained it to somebody, and it turns out it happened to other women.
Mm,
And I kind of told myself, wow, like, I didn't know. It kind of opened this lens for me. I didn't know, like, this was something. I didn't think of that. Oh yeah, it definitely can happen to other people.
yeah.
And it kind of made me more empathetic. So my instincts were to be more empathetic, but also to think some steps ahead, always knowing that was that was, if that came up later again. So kind of put up this like wall and this barrier, but also empathy at the same
Mm.
time.
Well, it's very admirable that, you shared your story and then other people came up to you and were like, hey, I've dealt with something similar. And
Yeah.
the way that you were able to look at not just yourself and, oh, like, well, me, hey, this happened to other people too. That's very selfless on your part. So I love that. And so, yeah, dude, so another trial and tribulation is you dealt with multiple health challenges, including hair loss and skin conditions. How did those physical struggles impact your confidence and self-image?
So that's not only hair loss and skin condition, but I also had a lung pneumonia, so that also was a part of it. So two of those were herpes disease, which I still have currently, like some hair loss here,
Mm-hmm.
and that actually tanked my self confidence. My confidence. I always would not want to put my hair up and only have it down, and I would always go like this in this movement whenever I was like, instead of fidgeting or something. It definitely was. I started to feel a little bit insecure about like how I look and present myself, and I wanted to like match these like beauty standards. So around it also was a lot to be in the hospital for so long with these like cords on me, and then
Yeah.
like having I don't know if it was surgery. I just remember like something going in my arm, and then me on anesthesia. So it was not only like tanking my self confidence like afterwards, but
Mm-hmm.
more so during, while that was happening. I remember it was a little bit different for each one, but the skin condition, I was two at the same time. One, like, if you go like this with like a toothpick or anything sharp, your nail, it would like pop up. And another one where it would like be hives everywhere, random times, and then just very itchy. And it played a huge. It was not great for the gym because I
Huh.
couldn't go to the gym with being itchy everywhere. I had to figure out what is this, speak to doctors, and the doctors told me we don't know why these two things are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So then I was left, more confused, and I'm a type of person who likes an answer to something. So when
Mm-hmm.
I'm told we don't know why, I say I was very lost, and then how do I help myself? So it was tanked my confidence, but it allowed me to learn and actually see, wow, there's like, now I look towards like the children's hospital. I'm like, whenever passing by, I'm like, I really
Mm.
genuinely hope whoever's in there during Christmas or anything like that, I really hope they're doing better. And it, again, looking at it now from where I am now, it's made me more empathetic. And one thing I never realized that would happen was being more empathetic than I already was. I thought, no, I've had so much, like, I've had things happen to me, I'm super empathetic. Then more comes along, and it's like, wow, that opens like a
Whole new
huge,
door.
like, new perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you with the admiration of the children's hospital. You know a little bit about my story. I had that chest condition surgery,
I did,
and
yeah.
Yeah, dude, I love everything I'm hearing in that regard with more empathy. So, school became incredibly difficult for you to the point where you lost interest in things that you loved. You played the violin, you said. I played the trumpet, by the way, so very different.
Okay.
But that was middle school, you know. But yeah, you played the violin. What was happening internally during that time that kind of made you lose the interest, though?
So, it's not just by, so also with the trumpet, we had like kind of tried every single instrument. I remember with the trumpet, I couldn't blow enough to like make the noise.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I stuck with like violin. My cousin, she's a professional player, played the violin, and I kind of love that high melodic sense, instead
Hmm.
of like there's a viola, it's like lower. But that not just it was violin, it was singing as well. I did singing for a long time, and it was very. I was pretty good at both, and not just that, I had done so many extracurricular curriculars when I was young. I had done dance, ballet, ice skating. I
Wow.
did sports like lacrosse when I was very little, and then I did karate. So there's two reasons why kind of how that interest was lost. One was even though I was so close with my brother was favorited. Usually when I grew up, he was more
Hmm.
favorited, and I always got dug into my insecurity. Like it was because I was adopted later. Like how can I show myself worthy? How can I be worthy for
Ooh.
my parents? And it kind of just it was felt like always a competition. So my parents didn't want me to do something and then outshine my brother. So it was very hard on me, but I wanted that structure. I wanted to learn. I wanted to keep going and going fast, and then I was pushed back, and it definitely held lots of anger like in me. And when I was able to do karate, I was really happy with that. But that's one reason why things kind of started losing interest, because I started losing hope, just like
Hmm.
I can't do that anymore. So it's like, what am I able to do? With the violin, it was more of a depressive episode that kind of had an impact on that. And I never truly realized why I loved violin so much until now. And the main reason is because it combined into the intellectual part with like you can't just it's not like a piano where you get the right note. You have to find the perfect right pitch with
Hmm.
on the whole bar, and also you can play with your emotion and let your emotion truly out through that, and it is just a beautiful thing to see, seeing that like pouring out your emotion while like thinking about the intellectual side. So I say how I think is intellectual obsession and emotional depth. And I still am thinking I might pick this back up soon just because it's such a beautiful instrument. But before I just didn't see that, and I was just tanked by depression, and I just kind of lost a whole like now like years worth of what I built up, and it was just due to just like being going down and down and down in my own head, and it was just not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I kind of relate to the emotional, like being able to like really tune into that. With I play guitar,
Mhm.
I'll do guitar.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can sing a lot better than me. So that's awesome that you have so many different talents, and I love that how you have to be extremely intentional with the violin, with how you play it, and yes, that's so good.
Yeah,
So,
I learned some. Oh, sorry.
oh no,
I was gonna
no,
say I learned some quick tunes on the guitar when I had a chance, but it was more my brother's thing. But I started ukulele because it was like similar to the guitar, so I would like strum along and sing to that. But
okay,
guitar is such a beautiful instrument. I just want to share that. Yeah.
yes, 100%, absolutely. So you talked a little bit about memory loss and feeling disconnected from your own life. Can you go a little bit more in depth on kind of like how that happened and how scary that
Mhm.
was to not really recognize yourself?
So yes, with that, I'm not very sure. I'll be just completely transparent about that, how it happened, but I do know how I started to pick up on it because that intuition or like intellect, I think was the word before that we
Sure.
spoke about, really made me very self-aware about any small change to my body, any small change around me. I was on this fight or flight mode, and this, when I started realizing, wow, there's things that I can't remember. Like, what did I do last week? I'd have to look at a picture. What did I do then? And then I started picking up and noticing and then challenging myself to kind of think, what happened, And I started I freaked out. I was like, I can't remember what happened yesterday. I was too scared. Fear held me back from getting help sooner,
Mm.
but I was so scared to go to a doctor or anything about it because I didn't want anyone to think I was crazy because I felt disconnected. It's the perfect way of explaining it. I felt disconnected and, it was definitely just really confusing to me as well. And now it's just being tagged with another point of confusion. Now
Mm.
there's just more confusion. So I don't really remember a lot, but I did kind of try to like train my mind and research about it to kind of develop from this. And it was a mix of that. And then when I started medications that did help, that kind of, I think it was more of like a trauma block now. Looking back at
Yes.
it, a huge one at such an older age, and I thought trauma block was just when you were young. So.
Yeah. So the medication entered the picture, and that became something you relied on a little too heavily. What do you feel like people? What do you wish people understood about those kind of coping mechanisms, if that makes any sense?
So I would think it's more of an idea that would help me because I can't just say one thing and hopefully it resonates with everyone. It's more the idea of you have to be self-aware and honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Honesty, so forgiveness, how that was up there. Well, honesty is like the second thing.
Mm-hmm.
And but a whole new perspective of honesty is being honest with yourself. And why I say that is because when I started, I was on this medicine and got me a little bit dizzy. And I started, liking that. So I would take it before the gym and then go to the gym. But I didn't learn. I kind of told myself, oh, I'm normalizing it without realizing subconsciously this is being normalized. So now I'm thinking, well, it's prescribed, so it's okay, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not. And I realized I would tell other people first, and don't let yourself get to the point of something bad happening because of a kind of neutral or bad, definitely bad coping mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
but what you think might be neutral and okay, and try to make it okay in your head. Face what your head is telling you. Oh no, it's fine, it's fine. Face that. Find something else to fill that void. Find something that you
Nice.
look up to or you're looking forward to, and it is so much better of a what fits of something to rely on rather than relying on a healthy habit. And learning how habits work, really, like Atomic Habits, that book or something, will be a great help into that, looking at towards psychology. But the point, I think I have a picture. But the point where I realized, oh, this is terrible, is when I took it out when I was going out to eat with a friend, and I had gotten really dizzy, and I fell, hit my head, and almost like died from that. So it was. I think I still have like the stitches, like somewhere here. It might be covered up with a little bit of makeup, but I was so scared. I woke up. I thought I was in a movie, and it's just like these flashing lights over me,
Yeah.
and then I realized, oh, this isn't. This is real life. And then the pain started to kick in, and
Oh.
then I'm being rushed in an ambulance. I'm like, wait. And that was, I would tell others, don't let it get to that point, and
Mm-hmm.
just don't let it get to that point where you realize maybe I shouldn't do that anymore, and instead look for something else and try as many ways, even if it feels like you can't find a new way, try another way. Just keep doing, keep trying.
Your mom's cancer added another layer
Mm-hmm.
of pain. How did that moment shift your perspective on family and mortality?
So, uh, family and mortality, you said?
Yeah, just how you see family and just live day to day now, knowing that,
So,
tomorrow's not
yeah,
promised.
it definitely opened uh at first. So hearing that news wasn't for my mom, it was actually for my stepdad. And I said, wait, no, that can't be possible, right? Like, wait, are you, but that can't be a joke, So I was like, wow, there's no way. I did, that's the last thing I expected to see coming, but
Right.
it's always when you least expect it.
Mm.
And it definitely, I had held a little bit of resentment, and me and my mom were getting in a lot of arguments. So around that time, and I was like, wait, I didn't even know she was dealing with this, even if it's not for that long. That I just figured out around the early noticing. I was thankful that it was caught on at an earlier stage. But I was thinking to myself, what like, wow, this is definitely like, I don't know how to, like, how am I supposed to be like supporting you? So I tried to ask more. It gave me more empathy towards someone who I
Mm-hmm.
really had been having a lot of arguments with my own mom, you know. So I was starting to be a little bit more empathetic again in a way I didn't see before. And I would say that what taught me a lot was actually after she recovered. I did not understand how much of a recovery it is after having something like cancer, and
Mm-hmm.
it is such like chemo puts you through so many amounts of, and just seeing how it affected my mom made me realize, wow, you know, even people you might resent at a certain point the most, like it's like I will still pray for her and hope that it gets better, and sometimes money can't even get you out of something like that. And that's
Yeah.
what I thought. I was trying to tell myself at first, no, it's fine. Like she's like, my family in Mexico, my mom's side of the family started a beer company that's
Mm-hmm.
popular. So I was like, no, she'll be fine, you know? And I was trying to tell myself that because I was scared that like what could happen. And then I realized, okay, no, like this might not be okay. I can see how it's affecting her. Is she gonna get better? So it just taught me empathy and also taught me like to empathize for those who are recovering from something. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's so good. And sorry that that happened, but I'm glad she made the recovery and
yeah.
that you were able to have that different perspective for sure. So you've said that yourself, you have struggled to ask for help at times. Where do you think that belief came from that you had to carry everything by yourself?
So I would say I saw something similar on the Armory videos. It was
Yeah.
about, yeah, it was about the fight or flight mode that your body kind of puts you through. It was definitely a survival instinct. Again, when I was younger, I was being switched mother figures over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
I then moved to New York, then moved to Connecticut, then moved high schools. It kind of was like another instinct kicked into me, like this fight or flight mode. And I think feeling like a burden kind of was how I felt, and also just like not feeling worthy and having to feel like I have to prove myself. I guess I would say. Sorry, I got off topic with the question.
No, that
I,
was
I might get
good.
off
I
topic,
want to
but yeah.
actually mention that quick. So the armory, that is part of strength inside of our app. Once people complete university, we give them access to this huge library of over 100 plus
Yeah.
videos that I've made. And shout out to Stephania for taking advantage of it, because some athletes don't find it. They forget about it. But a lot of them, like yourself, that take advantage, I think you get a lot of value. So that video definitely hit home. That's one of the first ones. And
Left some notes for, under the videos. They're great.
yeah, dude, it's all about inner mastery, guys. Like it says on the back of the book, Scars of Strength, inner mastery out of momentum, because that's what it is. We have to master the inner world before the external can see the success and to have that strong foundation internally. So I'm really glad that we got to
Oh,
resonate
yeah.
on that. By the way, I want to take a pivot while we're talking about strength. Dude,
Yeah.
the way that we met is crazy. I got to bring this up. So I never ever do this, and I'll never forget it, Stefania, because I never do it. Dude, we were talking in the DMs, and I'm pretty sure you were like, "Hey, can I talk to somebody? Like, I want to make sure this is real, right?"
Yeah.
Dude, I was low key. I don't know what time it was for you, but I was in bed. Like I was literally in
I
bed.
was at the gym.
Oh my gosh, I was
I
trying to
think
go
I
to
was like,
sleep. Dude, and this girl, she's like, I don't think it's real, and I was getting annoyed. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna call her and tell her, because I'm like, you look cool. Let's just see what happens. Hello, hey, yeah, this is real. And then we talk for another like 5-10 minutes, and you're talking my ear off, and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to go to bed. All right, just do the process. We'll talk. And then I think it took a few days, didn't it, until we got you like officially on the
yeah.
team. Like
Yeah.
the next morning I woke up and I was low key like it's all good now, but I was like bro, I just wasted that time. I got not as good sleep, but now we're here.
Yeah, wait, okay, so that was worth it. Worth the sleep loss,
It was
but
worth it, yes, but
okay. No,
I
that
never
was
do that. I never go out of my way to
so
call. I was like, all right, I just wasted my
so
time.
actually, I had just set a goal for myself with like I'm gonna reach out to some brands. I want to work with some brands and help myself and help others. Like that is my goal, you know. So that you guys are I think the first brand I kind of reached out to. And I just didn't think it was real because I was doing so much AI these days. Like this isn't true.
Yeah,
Like this isn't a real person. It's like doubting that. And then I was kind of just like, so when you asked to call, I was like, okay, wait, it might be real. But I was like, still like, I was at the gym, so I wasn't like fully concentrated. But then just I can point out genuineness from across the room, and I just sense that I could sense that you're tired. So I try to, I sometimes I yap for too much, but yeah, that was just hilarious to me too how we met. Yeah.
it's great. Everything happens for a reason. But yeah,
I could.
dude,
Oh, I firmly
right?
believe in everything that happens for a reason. Everything that's happened, even bad, shapes who you are now. And I mean, that. Guess look where it brought us. Like I'm one of your athletes, so and I'm super proud of that.
Dude, absolutely. And I want to talk about this if you're comfortable talking about it. You were homeless for a little bit, and that can change somebody forever. What did that season teach you about survival and humility? What was that like?
Oh, survival. Survival was is a little bit easier for me to speak about. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever been through because you think that it can't get worse, and then it gets worse. And then I thought to myself, wow, that like looking back and I'm like, everything can always get worse. Like, what was I thinking, you know? The survival mode it kind of taught me was to play it smarter and not harder. Don't make it hard on yourself. And I kind of tried to see the light and realized, like, for example, it's all about how you present yourself. If you present yourself like well dressed, but then you like, but then you're not as nice to like workers or something like that comes off a certain way. You will be if you just like like simply ask and you're genuine and nice about that. You can
Mm,
reach so much. Some people have asked me, "How have you met that person?" or "How have you like gotten done that?" And I said, "I just asked." But it's not just about asking. It's about asking in the right way. And I think that some people say like the best lies are with truth. That's because lies are just not, no, like it's just
mm,
about being more honest. That people will sense that. Like a lot of people can sense genuineness, especially I. That's something I learned. So it was survival and what humility, right?
yeah.
With humility, oh my gosh, it I was just scared the whole time. I was had something happen to me while I was homeless that I was kind of not told the process that needs to be
Mm,
happened, and I was too scared to call my parents. I said, "Nope, don't call my parents. Like I'm fine on my own. Like they're just gonna get mad." Looking back on it, what the
uh,
heck, Like they would have definitely, even if they definitely wouldn't have gotten upset at me or anything like that. But it was just I was self sabotaging as well as not just like letting that those negative thoughts get to me. And I have to say there's some people who I really like, some of my friends who helped me so much through that. And even if it was at just one single day or week, that really helped me out through that. And now when it taught me about humility, it's like you don't know. You walk into a coffee shop, you walk into Panera. I'm not a Panera.
yeah.
You don't know what the person across the room has just gone through. No clue. They could have just lost their job that they were relying on for so heavily. They could have lost. I still get money from the state during this, so that's kind
Hmm.
of what helped me throughout that. But with that, I realized, oh my gosh, like money's going fast. Like transportation is not cheap. Certain things aren't cheap. So it's like you have no clue what someone could be going through. And it is so vital to just have that humility and humbleness.
Mm,
Humbleness, I cannot say more. Being humble will just it will let others be able to speak to you in a comfortable way and have a more genuine flowing conversation. So it's just, I guess that's what I learned about humility. If I didn't, I wasn't, for that, but the survival definitely, my whole brain was rewired into thinking smarter, not harder, and not
Mm-hmm.
letting things get to me. Like my thoughts subconsciously, speaking in the video, a lot of subconscious thoughts will get to you thinking, I can't do that. No, that negative connotation. No, you think that it's something's really hard because it's so ahead of you. Once you do it, it's not that hard. It's
Mm-hmm.
just you're letting yourself think it. If you are really upset, like psychologically, you smile, and even if you don't want to smile, when you try it, it's like, oh, that's really hard to smile when I'm upset. No, you're tricking your brain into thinking, no, I can smile. I am going to be happy. Like, I am going to do this. I'm not going to let this negative connotation get to me. So I guess that's what I learned from it. And it just made me, again, once again, more empathetic than and sympathetic than I thought I could even. Like, I was like, how much more empathetic and sympathetic can I get? So,
Yes.
yeah.
No, that's amazing. It's one of those seasons that you're in when you're inside of it, you're like, oh my gosh, like what is this teaching me? Like God, why am I here? And
Exactly.
then afterwards, you're here on the pod talking about it, and you're probably very grateful that it
Oh,
happened.
the last thing I want to mention with that, what it taught me is I was in this, God, why is this happening to me?
Hmm.
Why? And like, I understand that things happen for a reason, but why is this happening to me? Like, out of all people, I thought I'd been through enough,
Yeah,
you know? Now looking back on it, it's like, there's a quote in the Bible, I can't remember like exactly what it is, but like, the light ahead of you is so greater than what you think it is, or something like that. And
sure.
it's like God has a plan and a path for you, and that can't even see how good that is. And I guess the only way I can remind myself is thinking I love spending time with children and taking care of children.
Mm.
I did classes in high school, and my friend just recently had me babysit with her, and I was like, I'm doing this out of I love babysitting, but it taught me if you can love someone else's child so much as a woman, how imagine just I can't even imagine, but I can kind of like think about it. How much could I love my own blood, like my child, my beautiful, like a beautiful future baby, or like
Oh, it's
and
gonna
it's
hit.
just it is just like shocking and like astounding to me. But that is kind of what like reminds me you don't know what's there ahead for you. A beautiful family, a beautiful job, success, anything like that. Or and God has
Yeah,
it planned out for you if you know, let him
I love
follow
that.
lead you through it.
In a ideal world, how many kids do you want?
I want 2 or 3.
Okay.
And depending on like if future husband or something, if they want for, I'd be open to that. I love children as long as you're at a point where you're successful enough to be able to endure
Exactly. Finances. That's like the biggest thing. That's what I tell
that.
myself too. Like in the book, I kind of allude to it. I'm like, hey, future wife and kids. Like, I'm definitely having multiple kids if I can.
Oh, definitely.
But of
Yeah.
course, you gotta be able to afford them. Because
What's your number?
how many kids do I want?
Yeah.
I'd say like at least three. I gotta have at
Yeah.
least bare minimum one son. Knock on wood. People in the past sometimes they've told me they're like, "You're gonna be a girl dad." I'm like, hopefully not. No offense, future daughter. No. I'll definitely have hopefully both sons and daughters.
I'm hoping. I know you can't like hope, but I mean, I'm hoping to have like at least an older son to kind of protect the daughter.
That's what I am. I'm the oldest son, and I have two sisters.
I'm the oldest daughter, and I have just one brother.
So
But
you
yeah,
wish you had an older brother, probably.
yeah,
But
yeah, a
your
little
your little
bit.
bro could probably beat people up too, right?
What?
Like your little brother could probably defend you, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty good on defending myself. I definitely
Yeah,
know
you as
my
well, dude. You
mother.
got karate skills, dude. That's what's
No,
up.
I did like MMA classes when I was away graduating for a little bit, and I kind of picked that up quickly. So I want to learn
Okay,
more of that.
let's go. Good.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you were recently hospitalized and diagnosed with PTSD. What has starting real treatment taught you about healing instead of just pushing through?
So funny to that question, I haven't started like fully started treatment yet for that.
Okay.
And that has been a little bit, I'm just about to start. It's just like very hard right now getting appointments and you have to be on a waiting list, you know?
Yep.
But I was kind of really funny. Like I kind of was like rejected from therapy actually before I got diagnosed like with PTSD, and they said too much has happened to you. I said that's morally unethical. How are
That's
you like
crazy.
pushing me away? I know that's insane. So I was like. I was a little bit like that tore me down a little bit. That was definitely a war for me. You know, I was like, wow, like I didn't expect that. I was genuinely honest with what's happened to me, but they
Wow.
were like, we can't help you. But here, like maybe some other places can. And I was like, wow. But I definitely have to say that PTSD has brought panic attacks like open that I just had a panic attack like with one of my friends when she had like her car had stopped on the other side. I said, why am I freaking out? Why am I crying all of a sudden? Why is like why my heart racing? And it turns out like my chest was I had too much air in my lungs and my chest was inflamed. And I was something about my blood cell count was over. So my they told me your body is on fight or flight mode still. I
Mm.
said, what? That's insane. So not I guess being diagnosed with PTSD made me a little bit more aware of how can I help myself, and I've been researching that. But it's definitely when people now I understand when people tell me, oh, they had a panic attack, you know, like, oh wow, like no, those are hard to go through. You know, you have these flashbacks that you don't even like flashbacks that I think to myself, I don't even like now I never thought about that until now. Like why am I
Yeah.
getting these flashbacks? It's startling and it's scary, and I'm like definitely, you know, that it was something hard to go through. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. I can't believe that they turned you away at first because they said
Yeah.
you too much. That's insane. But I'm glad things are gonna be getting started soon. So
Mhm.
today, how would you define strength differently than when you were younger? Like not the brand strength, unfortunately, like the actual word strength.
Yeah. So I would say that is such a broad question
That
to
is
me.
super broad. Yeah. Sorry. I
And
can
no,
I
no,
can
no,
break it
no. I
down.
love that. I love a challenge, you know,
Sure.
and I always like look up to that. So strength. Strength, I would say immediately, like, what do you think of when you think of strength? I think of like someone like jacked or strong, you
Hmm.
know? And it's like, no, there's so much more to that word. Strength can be physical, yes, and that's what most people think of when they think of strength. But also, mentally being strong is, I personally think, is just such a bigger
Flex.
like yeah, I wanted to say that like admiration. Like I will
Yeah.
admire that for someone else being so strong. Like wow, like damn, like you have been through that and you have thought through that and during those negative connotations you're pushing yourself to be stronger by thinking of the positive. It guess that's a little bit how I would define that. You know, to another thing, I is humility with strength.
Hmm.
When you're strong and physically, mentally, either or both, you have to be humble. And one of the things my dad told me, I mentioned in a comment for one of the army videos, but it was like you don't know what you don't know. There are
Hmm.
things that you have to be open. You can't just, especially with, you just have to. I was listening to some random podcast, I don't remember which one, but it was like, you have to be open to new ideas because you can't be so egotistical in yourself. So you have to understand that even if you feel really educated, smart, like you've come such a long way, there's always things that you don't know that you don't know. And understanding that concept is a very huge thing
Yeah.
into being strong. That's how you are mentally strong. Understanding and feeling empathetic and strong in your faith. I think that strength can just go to so many great things. But I think the biggest thing is being emotionally strong because mental health is something I forgot to mention. Another trauma thing is when I was young, I'm not sure quite what age, but my biological mom passed away due to mental health,
Mm,
because who she loved so much was taken away from the government. It's a little bit corrupt in Mexico, and it's definitely something that gets me like angered. Like, why, So now um, looking at mental health, it's not something that you can just slide past. Mental health is so much more, and like I would just say, what strength is everything when you look at it in the right perspective.
that's so
And
good.
it is the biggest thing, I guess, um, towards being successful, being strong in your faith is
Mm,
also, and relationships. Any relationships are the key fundamentals, like the most important thing with anybody. It's not just dating wise, it's just with friends, family. Like, relationships are the strongest thing. If you can have strength in your faith, that's setting you for success.
so true. Yeah, there's like five different. I think I mentioned in the armory a little bit, but there's like five different levels of life. There's your mind, body, spirit, your
Yeah,
career, and your relationships. And they're like
yeah,
plants, and we can choose when we water each plant. But if you only invest into one thing, like the strength, the physical strength, then if you use all the water in that, what's going to happen to your relationships and your
exactly.
business and your mindset?
Yes.
It's not going to grow. It's not going to flourish. It's it's nothing. Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with you. His strength is very multidimensional, and
Yeah.
especially focus on that emotional resilience and mental side of things. So to wrap this up, Stefania, for someone listening who feels kind of broken or ashamed or just afraid to ask for help, because I think that's a very big theme with you, is as you've gotten older, you've gotten so much better at asking for help and being comfortable unlearning old patterns to bring things to the front that were in the background unconsciously. You're making them conscious now. So, what would you say to somebody who is afraid to ask for help, and what would you want them to hear from you?
I would want to say something that anyone can like have this resonate with them. So I'm not just gonna give something because some people aren't strong in their faith, like, or don't believe in that.
Mm.
So I would say, it's a hard question.
That's hard if you can't rely on the answer being based on God.
Yeah, I know. So but that last question, I wanna make sure that everyone really can look up to something. When you
Yeah.
don't know how to ask for help, I would say try to find something, someone, the beauty in something. Try to find the beauty in something to help relax yourself, and then be comfortable enough with someone, whoever's closest to you, and try to reach out of your comfort zone.
Mm.
I would say reach out of your comfort zone because, and even, I hate saying it, but I have a hard time with like meeting new people, or, like kind of not letting nervousness get in the way.
Sure.
But so I still struggle with like social anxiety and stuff. So that is definitely like, it's gonna sound cliche again, but just like try to get out of your comfort zone,
Hmm.
and find something beautiful to rely on, so that like negative connotation can get out of your head, and really just look at the beauty in things, because that can go faith related or not faith related wise. So I guess find the beauty in things. Like my grandma told me, like she just looks in the backyard, and
Mm.
finds like these flowers, like we're just like these flowers, we need water to grow, and just find the beauty in something. Find something that you're passionate about. My phone's out for it, but I do have one last question for you actually.
Sure.
After um I don't like talking as much. One thing I learned was to listen. And before my phone dies, if you could explain what resonated most with you, like throughout all of this,
Through
like
all of
through the whole
this,
process.
holy
Yeah.
crap. I think I'll be fully frank with you. It's don't judge a book by its cover. Like Stefani, I had no idea any of this about you. And even going into the interview, because the way that we do this is the guest tells me as much as they can about their life story before we come on. And
Mhm.
before I got your email, or sorry, your text, I was like, hey, Stephania's cool. Let's have her on. She's a ball of energy. She came to Tribe Thursday a couple times, and I'm like, this girl can talk. Like, she'll do a really good job on the show. You got product, and then all of a sudden, it's like the last 24 hours, especially, I just have such a. And I'm not saying I've got a deeper appreciation for you because you've gone through more, but I have so much. I've already had respect for you, but I have so much. Like you like to say, empathy for you. And I'm just so grateful that I get to have someone like you represent strength, because you're the definition of your definition of strength, and mine as well, of so much more than just being jacked, because you're pretty jacked too, dude. You be putting in the work, but so much more than that, just what you've overcome. That's what this podcast Rain From Within show is all about, turning scars into strength. I think the biggest thing is just don't judge a book by its cover, because like you said maybe 20-30 minutes ago, you don't know what somebody next to you in Panera just went through.
Exactly.
So
I love that. Thank you so much. And I cannot wait to finally. I'm figuring out how to listen to the audiobook, so it's easier for me to read, but
nice.
I cannot wait to read the story. I think Diego said something about forgiveness was also mentioned in your book.
Yep.
And that I really want to ask you more questions right now, because, but I hope you can have future conversations. My phone is at 3 now.
Yeah, dude, we'll talk more for sure. Dude, where can they find you on socials?
You can find me at Instagram and TikTok mainly. I don't have Snapchat. I deleted that, but I Stephania_1_ for my Instagram, and Stephania Dilion for my TikTok. DILION10.
Dude, you got the word lion in your name. Did you know that?
I do?
I mean, it's got the word lion in your Dilion, right?
Oh, what?
Well, you've definitely noticed that before, right? That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, she's got to become a lion with us.
Oh, wait, that is sick. Wait, I love that.
Let's go, dude.
Wait,
There's no way you just found that out.
I know that Stephania means strength. Not strength. It means crown. I love my name.
Crown lion.
Crown lion. I love.
Wow, that you're meant to represent us.
You know what the line reminds me of? It reminds me of the line "The Witch and the Wardrobe." Aslan in the movie, it like kind of represents that god figure,
Okay, yeah.
And I love that. I love that movie.
Hey, well, I don't know if you can see behind me, but I got this sick mural of the lion and the sheep and the cross. So let's go.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I just got a new cross.
Oh, nice. Let's go. I love that. Man, I wish we could talk more, but
me too, yeah.
If you guys liked the episode, make sure you like and drop a comment of your biggest takeaway. Make sure you're subscribed. You're following whatever it's called on Spotify and Apple Pod if you're on there. And if you want to be the next success story like Stephania, head to strength.com/athlete to learn more. All right. See ya in the next one.